The Missouri River Basin covers approximately 500,000 square miles, making it the largest watershed in North America. The Missouri River is the longest in the U.S. and is fed by smaller rivers and tributaries, as well as snowmelt and runoff from surrounding mountains and plains. After several years of research, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, in collaboration with state, federal, and tribal partners, launched Project SNOWPACK, a first-of-its-kind water and weather monitoring network. This large-scale mesonet leverages advanced technology that will revolutionize weather forecasting and help mitigate flood risks and the ensuing property damage or loss of life.
After the 2011 flood on the Missouri River, the internal review team got together, which was a group of Corps personnel as well as other federal agencies and university members, and really came up with a list of recommendations on kind of an after-action report from the event. And one of the recommendations was to improve our soil moisture and snowpack data set within the plains region. We had a good idea of what was going on in the mountains and enough data there, but we felt that our plains information was a little bit lacking, so to provide more of that for our modeling and reservoir operations.
The first mesonet test station was installed in 2015 at South Dakota State University in Brookings. Nathan Edwards is the mesonet operations manager and one of the project's lead researchers from the university's Department of Agriculture and Biosystems Engineering. Nathan has been involved with Project SNOWPACK since it began in 2012. He and his team are responsible for installing the weather stations, performing routine maintenance, and collecting, storing, and publishing the weather data to the university's climate website.
What we're really trying to accomplish here is total water monitoring. And that's basically trying to capture as many parts of the water cycle as we can. We're looking at sublimation of snow, where the snow turns into vapor and goes into the atmosphere, evaporation, transpiration, which is the water that plants let off into the atmosphere, and then also the water going in, the precipitation that goes directly in, and then actually, if you think about it, snowfall is like the snowpack is precipitation that hasn't quite fallen yet, and knowing how much is there and ready to go into the soil or run off is a really important factor. And so we're providing the variables that the snow modelers need to be able to estimate the amount of water in that snowpack. And then of course the final part is how much is being stored in the soil and how much is going through it to lower levels.
This state-of-the-art equipment costs approximately $75,000 and usually takes 2 to 3 days to install. Many of the stations are placed in remote and isolated locations and monitor a variety of data over a 500 square mile radius.
The really exciting part about it is not just having the right data, but having it go to the right people. So the data users were asked what they needed early in the project, and the stations were built around those needs. And then we're working closely with NOAA to be able to make sure that the partners that need that data to be able to turn it into other types of data. And there have been great efforts made to make sure that it gets applied.
The USACE Northwestern Division operates 6 main stem dams along the Missouri River. These dams and reservoirs play a key role in collecting, storing, and releasing water. The water content in the soil across the basin is 3 times the amount held by the dams. The data from soil moisture monitoring is critical and will help dam operators during extreme runoff and also during periods of drought.
I think the larger benefit, besides flood damage reduction or flood fighting, is probably in drought management, knowing where the water is going to be, where the drought is going to be the harshest. Moving resources there from like the Department of Agriculture or state agencies to mitigate flood impact, or drought impacts, are going to be probably even a bigger benefit, because those are going to be more acute and a little bit longer lasting than flood impacts. So I think that's going to be a real benefit there. I think the other part of it is individuals being able to plan. You can see drought is very spotty, as is flooding. People can say, well, okay, I may need to irrigate in the fall because we're not going to be able to count on the winter snowpack and stuff like that. So I think that's probably going to be even a bigger benefit.
The project's success is largely dependent on the collaboration between stakeholders and tribal partners. For those living on or near the Missouri River, the benefits of timely, accurate weather forecasting are vitally important.
Back to the 2011 floods that happened, due to the excessive water and stuff, we were all worried impact down here, but, the Corps doing what they had to do to mitigate those things, that was a spectacular sight to see the releasing of water at the spillway across at the Big Bend Dam. I had family that lived in Pierce, South Dakota, and we're doing videos of the Oahe Dam opening up their flood spill gates. But to see the impact it had on, and that reality is always there for us. If something happens, how much time do we have? I think it's very crucial that the Corps of Engineers do its best to make sure they're managing that, but also be culturally sensitive to all the tribes that live along the river or have ancestral homelands within the river boundaries, to be respectful of that, and to really work with the tribes on what is best for the tribes as well in their water, and to do everything we can to protect it, especially from any pollutants or anything, and flooding, of course, and most importantly, shoreline erosion, because once something's washed down the river, you can't get it back. And our tribe has experienced that numerous times. So, flood mitigation, preparedness, working together, partnerships, cultural sensitivity training, cultural relations department with the Corps of Engineers and tribes, and the state of South Dakota, I think is very, very crucial and very important for all of us.
Upon completion, this will be the largest network of its kind, with 540 stations across 250,000 square miles. And the mutual benefits of the data will be far-reaching.
So although the kind of targeted users are the Army Corps of Engineers, our Northwestern Division Water and Reservoir Management Group, as well as other federal agencies, the benefits of this, they get really broad really fast. You can move it into the agricultural industry, the forest and stream management. Researchers will have a ton of fun with all the data that this is providing as well. And then just climate resiliency in itself. So I'm really excited about all the users and where this data will take us.
Participants include the universities of Nebraska, Montana, Wyoming, and North Dakota and South Dakota state universities. Also, the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, among others. The USACE Omaha District, engineering solutions that benefit the public and make a world of difference.